What's up, guys? You're watching Johnny Fabs, and today I'm working on the hatch. I have some new gauges, some Aem gauges for the wideband sensor, for the fuel pressure sensor, and the oil pressure sensor. So we're going to get into that today. I'm going to show you how to do it and install for the wiring, and where to install all the sensors. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking the downpipe off, so I have to unbolt it from the turbo, and then I need to drill and then weld the bung for the wideband. So here's the sensor, and then it comes with this welded bung right here. So I talked to the tuner, and he said it needs to be around 10 inches from the turbo. So it's going to be probably like right down between by that clutch master and the fan. So I am going to take off the downpipe and then weld this on, and so yep, I'm gonna get into it. So before I take the downpipe all the way off, I want to mark where I need to put that bung at. So I'm going to take this sensor, figure out where the best place is for clearance down here, and then mark it with the marker, and then take it completely off, drill the hole, and I can do the rest on the bench. I got the downpipe off, and there's my mark right there where I'm going to weld that bung in. So I'm going to drill that hole, weld it on, and I'll show you guys that. So you've seen I just tacked up that bung, and I'm going to test fit it before I completely weld it. So here's a look at that. So you can see it's cutting between the fan and that clutch cylinder, so should be good. And I can tuck the wires up by the fan. So looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and weld that all the way up, and we'll go from there. We got the bung welded in, as you guys seen. Give me a look at the welds. It's alright. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on, put the sensor in there, and then start the wiring. Alright, now that we got the downpipe bolted on and the V-band connected to the full exhaust, I'm going to go ahead and install the wideband sensor. So one thing to note, which I noticed AEM does, is they put a little bit of anti-seize on the sensor, so that's a nice touch. So we're going to go ahead and install it and then do the wiring. So the next process from the sensor is this harness they provide. So this plugs into the sensor, and then this part plugs into the gauge itself. So we're gonna run it right from the fan wire, run it, zip tie it to that, and then run it from here back into the cab. We'll find a grommet or something to run it up into the dash. So let's get to it. So I'm in the car right now. I just pulled that wire through the firewall into the cab, and then I got my gauges out, and I just bought this cheap like sheet metal with 3 holes. It's gonna go in the radiator. So you see the gauges, they look really nice, and they do come with different color back facings, so if you want to change out the color, but it's really cheap. They don't really fit in there really well, so I don't know if you guys have any suggestions on a better one. Put the link below, but this will do for now. So it's gonna go where the stock radio used to go, and then I'm gonna get the wires ran to it. So those little plugs plug into those white connections, and then you run switched 12-volt power to it, and then run the sensor wires to these. So yep, we're gonna get this installed where the radio goes, and we'll keep going. And then it comes with this harness also. So this plugs into here, and this is going to go to the, I think this is 24 or 12 volts ground, and I'll have to look at the diagram, but we'll figure out what those rest of those wires go to. But for now, I'm just gonna tuck these wires down in here, then coil up the rest of the wires. So that's gonna give you a look at what it looks like installed. So I put the air fuel right in the middle, so when I'm driving I can see that one, and then the oil pressure, and then the fuel pressure. So I still have to get a fitting to connect this to the fuel rail, and then we just welded that bung up. And then the oil pressure, I'm going to put that sensor on the oil sandwich plate. So there's another thread, and then you just put one of these sensors into the sandwich plate. So we'll do this next, and then we'll have to wait on the fuel pressure regulator fitting to connect one of these to the fuel rail. But we are going to get going on that oil sensor. So I've went ahead and taken my sandwich plate off, took the filter off, and then the fitting that connects this to the stock fitting. So this is going to feed my oil pressure sensor. So there is a tapped hole right here with a plug in it. So I'm going to take out this plug and put the sending unit for the oil pressure sensor right here. Grab the sensor, thread it into it. I put a little bit of Teflon tape on it so it wouldn't leak. Good and tight. So this sandwich plate also feeds my turbo. So this goes down to my turbo line. So I'm going to fish that back through and install the filter back on and try out these sensors. Here's a look from underneath. You can see the brass sensor, the wire going to it, and then the sandwich plate, and then that's where your oil filter will connect. And there's also one more port there, so if you need to run anything else off that, you also have that option. I can put the link to that sandwich plate below. It's a Mishimoto sandwich plate. So let's get into wiring up these gauges. So I just got the oil sending unit done. Now I was going to work on the fuel sending, but I don't have the fitting that was going to go on the end of the fuel rail. But I think what I'm going to do is pull off this end cap. I don't know if you guys can see. Pull that off and then drill and tap it for this sensor, and then put that right there. So we're going to try it, see if that's going to work out, and hopefully it goes well. So I already loosened this up. I'm going to pull it off. And what I'm thinking is just drill and tap that, and then I can add this to it like that. So I'm going to try it, see if it works. So to wire up the gauges, I connected all the black grounds together to one and grounded it right there. And then I added these fuse to all the red wires and connected all those together. And then this is for my boost solenoid power, switch power. So when I turn the key on, it'll put 12 volts to it. And then for the other wiring, I have my wideband going to I think that's, I'm not sure, I'll have to put that in the video. And then this one's going to A14 for the wideband, and this one's for the boost solenoid. So, yep, that's it for the wiring. And then after that, just tuck the wires up into the radio hole and then push this in. So I think that's going to be it for this video on the gauges. I hope you guys liked it. Pretty quick, easy install. So hit that like button if you liked it, and let me know what you think.